Right, Ben. I have got two pitches. What about you?
I've got three.
You got three. Do you want to give us your first one then, and then we'll go in turns after that?
Yes. So I was thinking about it, right, and I thought back to our Star Wars pitches,
Right.
and I was thinking, what was the best pitch of that? And of course, it was the Watto simulator.
Oh God, here
So
we
we've
go.
gone back to that, and we've got a Clark Kent simulator.
All right.
So
Okay. All right. Bit of
we
photography.
work.
Does he? No, that's Jimmy Olsen.
No,
My
no,
bad.
yeah.
Whoops.
we work at the newspaper.
Yep.
We write some newspapers.
Yep.
We put them together. We edit them, maybe, if we're asked to.
Yep.
We make sure we keep our glasses clean.
Yeah,
all the
like a
time.
mini game of keeping having to push
Yeah,
them back
yeah.
up onto your nose. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we go around the city just walking on the streets
Yeah.
like a normal man, because we're just a normal man.
I'd like a
And,
mini game where your papers go flying everywhere and you have to scatter around and catch them all awkwardly and stumble over someone and spill someone coffee. Yeah,
because you're just a nerd with glasses.
just a nerd with glasses.
And you go around Metropolis and you go searching for phone boxes. You don't go in them in this game. You just go looking for them, so you can note them down on your notepad where they are.
Nice collectible.
So you can go get changed.
Yep.
Yeah. You have a little walk around. Maybe you go on a date with Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And you're too afraid to kiss her, so you don't end up kissing her. Yeah.
Because you're a nerd.
You're just a nerd.
Then you go to sleep and you wake up and you go work the next day.
Yeah. Great. Right, okay, who would you get to develop this game, Ben?
Blizzard.
Blizzard. yeah, give it to Blizzard. You know, the guys who made World of Warcraft. Please, can you make this? Yeah, I think you'd have to get Troy Baker to voice Clark Kent straight up. You know, who could voice Lois Lane? I don't know. Someone from the DC.
Amy Adams.
Yeah, she could do it. Well, Bryce Dallas Howard just did a video game called Marquette, apparently. So, she might get into voice acting. Who knows? I say that it's just because they're both ginger. I'm not being gingerist or anything. I'm getting married to a ginger, so I'm allowed to say it. I don't know. Yeah, cool. I mean, I'd like to do a little bit of photography in it, though. I mean, being a
but that's Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Let's save that for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
But
here.
could you do halfway through the game, you're just Jimmy Olsen for a mission? I'd love that. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, Ben. Okay, that's your first one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my first pitch. Not saying yours wasn't a serious game, but mine's quite a serious game. So I would like... Now, obviously, Superman games are very, very hard to do, right? Because you need to have a challenge, right? But I would say that one of my most enjoyable games I've played in the past 5 years is God of War 2018. In God of War, you play as a Greek god. And there's not, you play it on easy. There's not a lot of challenge to it at all. But the combat is so satisfying. And the story is so gripping, and it's such this next-gen-esque game. Like, to me, it's a game that we hadn't seen this generation. The whole one long cut, a single take from start to finish. It's just such a great game. So I would like a Superman game in that sort of God of War storytelling, great combat video game, where it's more focused on the story, but you do have this really good combat that goes along with it that makes you feel really powerful. All right. Now, I've got a couple of notes. I think Rocksteady would actually probably be the best people to develop this game. They know how to do really brutal combat that we've seen in the Arkham series, but also tell a very deep story. Especially, in like Arkham City, Arkham Knight. I think, there's such like deep story. I mean, in Arkham Knight, spoilers. In Arkham Knight, you're like turning into the Joker, and it shows Bruce trying to come to terms with that. And they really know how to sort of develop this story where it's not going to have a happy ending type thing. But anyway, it could have a happy ending. So I think this would be best to set it in Superman's early years, really early. So like in Smallville, like the Smallville TV show, right, where you can't fly. Okay, so he's not figured out to fly yet. And there's a new 52 Action Comics run where he's in a jeans and a t-shirt and like this cape he just sort of ties around his neck, and it's just a really cool look, and I really like that. So sort of maybe set around that storyline. I think there's something to do with that in that storyline, that Superman's some sort of fugitive, and they think he's doing like breaking the law, but he's not type thing. I don't know, I didn't read it. So either sort of play like that, or maybe it'd be better suited to like a Superboy storyline where you don't know who you are. Superboy has just been created out of Lex Luthor and Superman's like DNA, and you just sort of you exist all of a sudden, right? And just sort of follow him coming to terms with what this world is and getting a grip on life, and who is he. That could be quite interesting. I've said that I don't want it to set in an open world for this game anyway, not this game, but I think this would be better working in like God of War. It's a connected world, but it's not open necessarily. You've sort of it's more like you walk through a very very linear path, but there are other paths to go off of, rather than I'll just literally go here, literally go there. It's more sort of directing you down these different paths, and then there's sort of more open areas where the combat can happen. So yeah, I think the camera should be very very close on him, like it is in Kratos in God of War 2018. Very very close, very very personal. I'd like to see that whole one, from start to finish, one long take. I don't think it's a necessity though, but I think that'd be quite cool. And yeah, I said maybe you can't fly. You more focus on, you don't know combat at all, because I mean Superman doesn't know combat, like when he first starts out. So he's just relying on his brute strength. But then maybe he comes up against other enemies where his brute strength doesn't do it anymore. So then you have to start learning combats and combos and attacks and light, heavy attacks. And then you can start upgrading yourself a little bit like that. And, along the way, you maybe go to the Fortress of Solitude and you unlock laser vision, or you unlock ice breath, because, you speak to the Kryptonians in the Fortress of Solitude, and they tell you, how to do it or whatever, or you get like a new suit, and the new suit helps you. I don't know, something like that. But I think maybe at the end of the game you could unlock the ability to fly, just to sort of break the game a little bit. Just sort of in these, you can backtrack to these areas that you were in before and just go up really high. Just get collectibles and stuff. Just keeps you playing. I've said some of the locations to visit could be Smallville, Metropolis, Gotham, Fortress of Solitude, and then maybe like a space station. Maybe not the Watchtower, but just maybe something similar along those lines. Maybe you have to go up there to save some people or something. I don't know. And then I think for the main villains, you could probably have General Zod. So very Man of Steel-esque, all right? So, Man of Steel doesn't really know how to... Superman doesn't know how to fly Man of Steel until about halfway through the film or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, General Zod comes down. All of a sudden, his brute strength doesn't work, right? All of a sudden, these guys, they know how to fight and he doesn't. And they're on the same level as him. So something like General Zod and a team of Kryptonians as the villains. Or I was maybe toying around with Brainiac, but I think that would be more, a world... Earth's problem rather than Superman's problem. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say on it. What would you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, I think putting someone in their early years is always a solid way
Yeah.
to kind of not only mimic like the player's experience of going through tutorials and
Yeah.
stuff, but also when it is a character like Superman, it
Yeah.
makes it easier to sort of manage in terms of
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's still vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and then you do have a health meter, but not necessarily. You're still really overpowered. Like in God of War, Kratos is still very, very overpowered. And I didn't die a lot, and unless you're literally going for those Valkyries, which are just goddamn near impossible. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you can have a game where you can die, and obviously you want to present yourself from dying, but it's very easy to do that. But the combat keeps you engaged. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but yeah, I think maybe focus more on like a coming of age story just to really sort of grip you. Because when I played God of War 2018, I just wanted to get home. I just wanted to play it. I couldn't wait to beat the game just to actually see the story through, see what happened, and buzzing for the sequel. The sequel's day one purchase for me. I even got a PS5. I'm still gonna buy it until I can get a PS5. But yeah, so yeah, I mean I think that's probably the best way. That's my strongest pitch anyway.
Yeah. It has got that thing of like, it's going to be difficult to do flying, so we're just going to omit it completely until the end game. But it's hard to get around, so
yeah, and you could do like big leaps up into the air. Maybe on you start off with a little leap, and then a medium leap, and then a big leap, and then you could do like a leap and a ground pound, and and it's Superman can be very video gamey, right? He's got all these powers and abilities that you could control in a video game and you could pull off in combat. But if you set it in the early years, then you can sort of unlock it as you would, because he's learning them as he goes. So yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'd say also the Avengers game that came out. Obviously, you can fly in that with like Iron Man and Thor and stuff.
Yeah.
And sort of the hovering like game, or where you've got like enemies around you and you're not going really far, is solid. But when it does get to that, get from here to here, it is a little bit like, I can just fly there and completely avoid all the enemies.
Right. Right, I see. Yeah, I've not actually played Avengers. I'm in two minds about it. Like, I kind of want to give it a go because Captain America's combat looks cool. I'd like to play as Thor. Not really interested in playing as Iron Man, but I just want to. I'd like to experience it, but at the same time, I know it's probably going to be a bit of a slog. Yeah. I think what I probably will do is probably wait for a couple more characters to come out and see what the census is on it then, because I mean, like the free DLC coming out for it does look really interesting to me, especially Hawkeye's future imperfect storyline that I loved in the comics. That looks really good to me. I kind of want to experience that. At the same time, I do want to play as Spider-Man. So do I get the PS4 version, but then I can't play it with you because you've got it on Xbox, so it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. But I'm going to leave it a couple more months until I'm really, really not knowing what to play or do with myself. It's cheap already. It's like 20 quid, isn't it? It's really cheap already. Yeah. So that's my first pitch. What about your second pitch, Ben?
Yeah, so mine is a Arkham series Spider-Man PS4 style game set in Metropolis.
Yeah.
I was thinking, it could either be Rocksteady or Insomniac, but I guess with Insomniac and Spider-Man, they've probably got some sort of deal with Marvel, so maybe they wouldn't really be able to do it.
Yeah.
So I guess it would have to be Rocksteady. But I've put it as like the Joker's blood in Arkham City that he injects into Batman, who then has his diseased blood. You could have Lex Luthor administer some kind of disease into Superman in exchange for Lois Lane. So we open the game, it starts, and he's already got her. And we start, and we're Superman, and we go in, and like he's got a gun to her head.
Right.
And Lex Luthor's basically like, I'll give you her back. I just want to put this disease inside you first, right?
Oh.
So they do that because he has like no way out of it, even though he's Superman. But then he's like injured for the whole game, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like my way out of having him be
Right, I see.
overpowered,
Yeah.
right? So the object is that he can't think of anything of any way to fix this, but he knows that Lex Luthor has some blue kryptonite in his labs, which is the healing kryptonite for Superman.
Okay. Is it? Right. Okay.
So basically he has to try and get it in any way that he can.
Yeah.
And we have all of Superman's rogues gallery, like in the Arkham games. They all know that he's diseased. Lex Luthor's told the world,
Yeah.
Superman is diseased.
They're coming to get him.
Go kill him if you
Yeah.
want to. And they'll be like, all right then, let's go kill him. So all the villains come out, and because of all the villains are out, all the civilians are indoors. So that defeats your
Okay.
civilian problem,
Yeah.
because they're too scared to go outside because Superman's injured. And they're all out for Superman's head, like in Arkham Origins, where there's all like the assassins after Batman.
Yeah.
That's obviously in his first sort of years, but similar. Also, shout out to Arkham Origins, solid game. I would have this one of two ways. It could either be Earthbound villains, right? So no Darkseid, no Brainiac, just his more Earth villains.
Yeah.
However, obviously more of his iconic ones are sort of alien-y.
Yeah.
Sort of. So you could have the same game, but have it headed by the Legion of Doom rather than just Lex Luthor himself.
Yeah.
So then you can include Darkseid, Brainiac, whatever you want. I've also put as your kind of sidekick in the game, maybe the person who comes on and gives you hints and stuff, it's got to be Mr. Mxyzptlk. He's got to be in the game in some way.
Isn't it
and then
Spitterlick or something like that? Spitterlick or something?
I did look it up before we started, and there are a few different ways that people say it, but the one I found most people agree on is Mxyzptlk.
Oh, okay. In the animated series, he pops up and he says it's pronounced mix, spit, or lick, or something like that. And then something like that.
Yeah, I've also put as a side note, maybe play as Supergirl, because I'm thinking maybe because Superman's diseased, maybe he's gone to her and said, "Can you help me out here?" But maybe she's still in her early years of sort of training. Yeah. Just a side note. Yeah,
side note, Supergirl TV series. I really enjoyed that. I stopped watching it after a while. I can't do 22-hour-long episodes. But from what I watched of Supergirl, they bring in like Mon-El and stuff like that, and I really, really enjoyed the Supergirl TV series. Just off on a tangent there. However, this game sounds really good. I think Metropolis is such an interesting city to sit a video game in. You know, it's not really one that's been explored before. It pops up in like the Lego games, but I'd want to see what a realistic-esque version of Metropolis looks like, because you can't really tell from the films, and they can get really good, like really weird with it in a video game, like how Gotham in Arkham Knight, just has all these iconic locations from the movies and sets it out in a city. It works so well.
Everything ties together as well.
Yeah. And I'd really like to see Metropolis. I want to see the Daily Planet, but I also want to see what else this city has to offer.
Yeah. And in the Injustice game, some of the best stages are Metropolis, because you go and you get them into trains that are going past, and it feels alive.
Yeah, and it's very sort of like a 50s sci-fi city, and it has this such uniqueness to it that I'd really, really want to see a video game set in it.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think would work really well, I'm going to sort of mix these things together. You said about the blue kryptonite, which is your healing, but you also said about his rogues gallery, right? Now, sprinkle a little bit of Nemesis systems from the Shadow of Mordor in it, okay? Just a little bit. Just sprinkle a little bit in it, right? where you have to. Your rogues gallery is your leaders, right? And you got to take them all out to get to Lex Luthor, yeah? But every time you defeat a rogues gallery villain, you get a little bit of blue kryptonite back. And that gives you a little bit more health. And that upgrades your powers a little bit, you know? So incorporating very video game... what's the word? It's just very video gamey, yeah? But I think also you could have your stupid rogues as well, like Polka Dot Man and Condiment King. I know I'm sort of borrowing from Batman a little bit here, but they could be in the Nemesis system. This is why a Batman Nemesis system game, fans have been wanting this for years, right? Batman Nemesis system worked really well. But Superman could really work well with it as well. And especially if you're underpowered and you're just going to get to that rogue villain that has the blue kryptonite, but then you fail at the last sub boss, and then he replaces his gangs, and you've got to go up through that ladder again. And that's what Shadow of Mordor does very, very well. Is you're just about to take out the big boss, but then you're just walking along, and you all of a sudden get into this massive fist fight. You get defeated, and you now got to do that all again.
Yeah.
And the people that defeated you are now really, really strong, and they've got really bigger and better abilities to them because they defeated you. So yeah, I think Superman could work really, really well in that. And it could, you could sort of learn from your mistakes, and it's sort of bringing a little rogue light gameplay into it. But yeah, I think that could work really well. What would you reckon, Ben? A little bit Nemesis system.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, I was hoping.
Also, wanted to add.
Sorry, I was hoping they would do a sort of bit of Nemesis system in the upcoming Gotham Knights game, but I don't think they will. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I was going to add. Even though he's like diseased, I think he still needs laser vision, ice breath to still keep his identity. I don't want it to just turn into it's Superman. Now we take everything away, and now he's just a man that's really good at punching people.
Yeah, I
still think he needs his abilities.
Yeah,
but just have him, not one hit, one kill people.
Yeah, and they could start off really quite simple. Like your freeze breath does a little bit of, I don't know, slowing enemies down, and your heat vision does sort of like a damage to a limb, and then you could upgrade it where you're tying it in with your combos, so you could do like a punch freeze breath, and it would get them solid, and it would be your version of stunning them, like you do with Batman and your cape, right? So in the Arkham games you can start mixing, you could do your punching, your dodging, and then throw a batarang at the same time, and you could sort of do that with Superman. You can start doing like your punch, freeze breath, fly in the air, chuck him down, laser vision. So, and you can start unlocking your abilities. Even though you've got them all along, you can start putting them into combos and upgrading them. And I think that would work really well. And obviously, like you said, with the blue kryptonite, every time you get a little bit of blue kryptonite, your powers get that much stronger. You unlock a newer ability. You unlock maybe like in Injustice, I think Supergirl, she has like the quick laser vision, and then she has that really long laser vision where she's walking towards them. Yeah. You could do something like that. That would work really well. And I think also, Superman, it would work best as a sort of combat-esque, game. It's not going to work like a Gears of War or anything like that, is it? You take cover and you shoot with your eyes, So mixing your combos. Yeah. Anything you want to add to wrap up that pitch, Ben?
Also, on the point of Metropolis, obviously in that Suicide Squad trailer, the trailer at least is set in Metropolis. We don't know about the game.
Oh,
but,
I forgot.
It's interesting.
I want to add, you said at the start, maybe Rocksteady, maybe Insomniac. What about Volition? The guys behind Saints Row 4, which is a Superman-esque game in itself, isn't it, really? You sort of...
Yeah.
I mean, okay, it's a third-person shooter, with weapons, but that traversing the city, the running up the buildings and the gliding it's so smooth, and I think it's really underrated. I mean, obviously everyone was like, "All right, Saints Row 4 just sort of went, I'll do whatever you want," but it works
Mm.
really, really, really well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think they could be. I'm sure I read at the time some sort of interview that they were saying, "Look, you made Saints Row 4. It's probably one of the best Superman games. Would you ever do a Superman game?" And they were like, "Oh, if we ever got approached for it," type thing. So, um, yeah, yeah, I think they could make quite a good Superman game. But anyway, my second pitch. So I would like a multiverse Superman game, or whatever the multiverse is called in DC. I can't remember what it's called. Um, Developed by Platinum Games. You know Platinum Games, Ben?
Nope.
So they developed Bayonetta. They developed Vanquish. What else have they developed? I mean, Bayonetta is the one that I'm sort of going to go off here anyway. But they know how to do fast pace combos and over the top action. Okay, so they with Bayonetta, you toss enemies up in the air. It's sort of Devil May Cry-ish, right? Toss enemies up in the air. You can hit them up in the air. You can bring them back down. You can do like a area attack, and you're constantly just racking up your combo meter. So you do like a 3-hit combo, and then you just want to build up the biggest combo you can do without getting hit, right? So it's a Japanese studio, but they make really, really enjoyable combat games, right? Now, the reason I've chosen them is because they kind of make you feel invincible. You're just constantly hitting people, but you're having to dodge a lot because although it makes you feel invincible, you sort of don't have much of a health meter. Okay, I mean you can start hitting enemies and not get hit at all as long as you're on the offense. If you start being on the defense and dodging out the way and stuff, you're going to get hit quick and then you're going to die quite quick. So you're constantly having to be on the offense. Now, I think this would work best when you're going up against Supermen from different universes that are like evil, right? And they have like maybe they team up with Lex Luthor and they have Lexbox that contain kryptonite or something like that. So you're very, very vulnerable to them because they're on your level. They're on par with you, but you have all of Superman's abilities. Okay, so all right. I mean, like I said to you before, you can start maybe unlock combos where you can mix your your laser vision with your ice breath with tossing them up in the air. But you start off your Superman straight from the get go, right? You've got all of Superman's abilities, and then this all this multiverse thing happens, and you've got these other Supermen to contend with, and maybe when you like defeat each Superman, you can see their moves that they do on you, and you like learn those moves, something like that. So even though you start off with all of Superman's abilities, um, you're getting attacked from these different abilities that you've never seen before, and because of that, you're watching and learning them, and then you can obviously unlock them during the game. Okay, so I've put here something a bit like the Invincible storyline, where all these other universes, this guy called Angstrom Levy, he basically can go through all these different universes, right? And he goes to every single universe where Invincible is bad, and then pays them or promises them something to bring them back and destroy the Invincible from his universe. Okay, and it's like right in the middle of a fight. He's Invincible's in the middle of this big fight on Earth, and all these other bad Invincibles turn up. Right, it's a really good storyline. So you basically just having to fight off these bad Invincibles, and you could have like Lex Luthor behind it all. Not really fussed about the story in this game. It's more about the combat. It's more about linking combos together. I mean, with the Bayonetta games, there's not really open areas as such. You're just sort of going from arena to arena to arena. Um, with not much exploration between them. So I don't think it would work best in like an open world setting, but then also I don't think it would work best in like a linear path. It would more just be sort of you're in this arena, story happens, cutscenes happen, and then you're in another arena, and that like sort of links through, and then you have to use your abilities to unlock the next door type thing. That's what sort of happens in Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, and that could probably happen in this. People will probably be let down that it's not an open world where you can like fly around, but I think for the combat purposes, it would probably work best. But they could really get like quite unique with it. In Bayonetta, I think it's Bayonetta 2, there's like this whole sequence where this clock tower's like falling. I think it's a clock tower, and you're fighting on top of the clock tower while it's falling through midair. That's all cool. And then no, I think that might be Bayonetta 1, but then in Bayonetta 2, there's a sequence where a jumbo jet's about to fly into Bayonetta into the people around her, so she just kicks it up into the sky and then goes onto the sky, and then you're fighting all these angels on top of this plane. Oh, it's mad. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. But because this is about multiverses, right, I think there'd be quite a good opportunity where you could choose the Superman you play as and actually have a very short 5-hour game, but you play it over and over again. So, depending on the Superman you choose, you could choose Kal-El from Earth 1, and you can just play his story. His start, his middle, his finish. And, sort of the action sequences, they all happen the same, right? And your abilities and stuff are all the same. But at the end of each game, each Superman has their own special ability that no other Superman has. So to get the ultimate Superman, you play through let's say there's 5 characters, right? And you have to play through all 5 characters' storylines to unlock each special ability to then, I don't know, unlock a final Superman to play through the game a final time and see, you're seeing different story each time. But by the end of it, you've got all the powers. So you start off, you could just play as Kal-El, but then you could play as one of the evil Supermen, but then you could play as one of the other good Supermen from another universe or something like that. And just short. It's a short 5-hour game, but you play it over and over again. And a game that does that really well is like Resident Evil 2. You have to play it 4 times to experience it all. You play it twice to see the 2 different stories, and then you play it a 3rd time and a 4th time to play, in different areas of the game that you don't even see your first playthrough through. So if you play Resident Evil 2 the whole way through, you're missing like half the game because there's like areas in that game that you don't even see until you replay it. So that could work quite well. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've sort of got to say. Platinum games do really good combat, and I think that would work sort of with a Superman because again in that sort of you feel invincible while you're playing it, but you have to time your dodges, and it could work with Superman having to time his dodges because they're shooting kryptonite at him or something like that. I don't know. What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, I think, as like I was saying earlier, another way around the overpowered is just make everyone overpowered. Which bring in loads of different Supermen, and you've solved the problem pretty much. And I don't think anyone's gonna complain about there being lots of Superman in a game.
No,
as long as it's good, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Just looked it up. Platinum Games. They've made Bayonetta, Vanquish, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, Wonderful 101, Bayonetta 2, Nier Automata, Astral Chain, and they've currently got Bayonetta 3 in the works. So, yeah, they're really well known. I think they could make quite good. I mean, they make action games just all day long, really, really good. So, yeah, give them a Superman property. Anything you want to add?
I guess it would also be like a completionist game. I think there would be people that would maybe play as like 1 or 2 different Supermen, and then that would be it.
I mean, like I said, it's sort of most games. You play the game, and then it gives you, I don't know, like collectibles to get. to carry on playing, right? Whereas this one, instead of collectibles, your collectibles are your special abilities that you're unlocking. You know, kind of like how Spider-Man does it with his suits. Each suit has got a special ability to it. You could sort of do, each Superman has a special ability that you can learn, type thing. So something like that. Yeah, yeah. That's my second pitch. That's all the pitches I've got. What about you, Ben? What's your last one?
Okay, so you start off and you're in like a warehouse or something, and there's loads of bad guys, and you beat them all up. And this is first person, okay.
Yeah, first person.
And you do all that, and you don't say anything, you don't hear anything, you, like from your perspective anyway. But you can see the bad guys. They're like, "Oh, it's Superman" and everything, and you beat them all up.
Yeah.
And then you do the same again, and you beat them all up. And then you come to your third mission, and they're like, "Oh, it's Superman," and you beat them all up. And you get to the end, and you're looking out the window. But as you're looking out the window, your eyes actually focus onto the glass, and you see your own reflection, and you're actually Bizarro, right? But you thought you were Superman, and everyone was saying you were Superman because obviously you kind of look like Superman. So you're trying to come to terms with you're not Superman, and that's the game, right? And after that, and he's speaking, he's like, I Bizarro, I'm not Superman," and whatever he says. And you're coming to terms with you're not Superman, and you're still going to all these places, beating all these people up, but then suddenly the bad guys start like laughing at you. He's not Superman. What's he gonna do? And then you're getting angrier because you just want to be Superman, and you get more overpowered every time until you become a big threat. But you just misunderstood because you thought you was doing good, and then you end up beating up civilians and stuff because you're just too angry. And then the real Superman comes along, and there's your big boss battle, and that's the end of the game.
I quite like that it'd be first person though. That's like quite an interesting twist on it. I think a game where you play as Bizarro could be quite good because, again, like we said, we've struggled to make a Superman game where you're indestructible type thing. Whereas if you play as Bizarro, you pretty much can be indestructible, but then you can also just pummel anyone to the ground type thing. So yeah, first person combat works as well. You know, it does definitely work. There's games that have done it quite well in the past. I mean, I've played through through Cyberpunk sort of every now and then, but the actual sword play in that game is quite good. And first-person combat can work really well. You know, you don't have to have a first-person shooting game anymore. It can be like, obviously, there's survival horror. But yeah, first-person melee combat with a little bit of abilities sprinkled in there could be quite cool. Yeah. Is that it? And you want to add anything?
Not really.
No.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think that'll probably do it then. What do you think of our...
I would say have Bizarro be voiced by Nicolas Cage.
Yes. And, you know, he'll do it. He'll do it because he loves Superman. He's got a son called Kal-El. I mean, come on. He used to have... I think it got stolen, didn't it? He used to have Superman #1 or Action Comics #1, like sealed copy. And it was worth like... I think it was worth like tens of thousands. It weren't worth like millions, but someone broke in and that was the only thing they stole. He broke into Nicolas Cage's mansion and he just stole the comic. How fuming would you be? You know, you love Superman so much, you named your son Kal-El, and someone steals your comic. I hope he got it back. I don't know. I don't know if he did. If you do know, let us know. But yeah, let us know what you think of our pitches. And thank you for listening. So if you want to leave us a rating, you can do it on iTunes. You can listen to us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. Leave us a rating. Tell us how good our Superman games are. Or send us a question or a topic recommendation to our email address.
Tell us how you pronounce Mr. Mixelplick.
Mixel Spitlick. That's how I pronounce it anyway. email it to us at playwatchpitchcast@gmail.com. That's playwatchpitchcast, all one word, at gmail.com. If you want to see any updates about our podcast on social media, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/playmovieswatchgames. Alternatively, you can find us on Twitter at playwatchpitch. Like I said, get in touch. Let us know what you think. Send our recommendations to Rocksteady. Get them to make a Superman game. There you go. As long as we get some credit for it, that's all I want.